Today, we're reading a series completely out of order. We have Foolkiller #1. Now, I did reviews of like 456 or 345 or something. Got this, issue #1, part 1 of 10. And as you might guess, the story is pretty much all just set up. You can totally tell that. Here's Bonk's adventure. Dude, I love this game. It's a great game, man. One of my favorite TurboGrafx games. Bonk's Adventure and Alien Crush. So here's the real Foolkiller, the original. He's talking to his head shrinker, and he gets access to a computer. And he starts writing stuff down and mailing it out to people. This is all set up. It's all set up. And I gotta admit, I'm gonna just straight up admit it. It wasn't that great. Like, there is very little in the way of fool killing here. The dream sequence he had at the very beginning of the book, kind of interesting. I didn't show it because that feels like that's spoiling the best part. And the very end of this issue is kind of interesting because it's this guy, Kurt, who becomes the next fool killer, having like his moment where he gets fully radicalized. And that's interesting to read. But a lot of the rest of this book is just kind of here. Yeah, see, they foolishly gave him a computer, and now he's writing stuff to everybody. It somehow ends up in the hands of Monarch Syndication Services, and this dude reads it, and he's like, "Give me pictures of Spider-Man," except it's, "Give me all the Fool Killer's letters." And so he gets them, and he's going to publish them. And they made reference to a interview with the Fool Killer in the books we've already read, and that part of the storyline in this issue with "Bring me letters from Foolkiller," with this guy, sets that up. And the very end of this book is Kurt, the new Foolkiller, tuning in to watch broadcast. Along the way, Kurt gets fired from his job, wife divorces him, and he gets evicted and has to go work at Burger Clown. While working at Burger Clown, they get robbed. Like, there is nothing here in Burger Clown like worth robbing people over, but they get robbed. He flips out, he gets hurt, goes to the hospital, gets radicalized. Like I said, this is like the interesting part of the book, where this dude right back here totally gets radicalized and becomes like a vigilante dude. It's great. Doesn't go well for him, but the material itself, pretty great. Unfortunately, I gotta say, like, as a standalone book, this absolutely sucks. This was not a great standalone book. If I didn't already know where the story was going and how some of the stuff will get interesting towards like the issue 5 or whatever that I read, like this, I would have just been like, I ain't reading any more of this crap, because that's how I would feel about it. And I still kind of feel that way. But it's kind of a cool cover, right? So many fools, so little time. He's wearing the ridiculous costume, sitting on a mountain of skulls, all the dead people he's carbonized or whatever. Yeah, Mr. Fool Killer, I kill fools. Well, I was going to try to adjust the camera, but it didn't really work out. I don't have a whole lot more else to say about this book other than like the advertisements and stuff. All these vintage ads are actually pretty fun. When you play Mage Stone, strategic abilities, and intrigue to force other players' stones off the board. It's a quick, exciting game. It's easy to learn for 2 to 6 friends of all ages. I showed you that Bonk's Adventure comic, because that's how TurboGrafx did their advertising, man. They would make like little comics and put them in. Actually, they're not the only company that would do that. More famously, probably Hostess Fruit Pies in their comics. But they would do this. And Bonk was a great game. If you've never played Bonk's Adventures, you should fire it up. There's a Bonk's game for the NES. I think it's just a port of the TurboGrafx game. Dude, I was in the science fiction book club. I got like books down on my bookshelf from this. Like, it actually wasn't that big of a ripoff. Like, you would think like, oh yeah, they're gonna lock you in, you're gonna overpay for books, but it never really worked out that way for me. Like, I always ended up getting some good deals. Actually, where I got my first volume of H.P. Lovecraft stuff, which I don't know if it's on my bookshelf over there or if I've moved it since, but it's around here somewhere. Anyway, cool stuff. Definitely more worth it for the nostalgia of looking at the ads than it was the actual comic book. So I don't know what that says about the book, but it probably means you can definitely skip this one and do like I did with your reading. Just start at like issue 3 or 4 or whatever and skip issue 1. I don't know, bro. You all take care of yourselves. Bye bye.